Hey Leo, how's it going? Probably pretty well from the looks of it. I think you might have just made a big step recently. Now before the camera turned on, or before I turned the camera on, I did a little meditation to get into your vibe, tune into your frequency, and got some messages for you, and pulled an itching hexagram to help clarify that message. And the first thing I got was that pranayama might be important to you at this time. Pranayama is a simple breathing exercise where you breathe in one nostril and out the other, then in this one, then out the other. And you just breathe normally. You don't prolong the breaths, you don't breathe too deeply, you just breathe kind of naturally, right? And if you want to practice pranayama, it's very good for you. Don't do it for any more than 1 minute to 2 minutes. You don't need to do it any more than that, and it can have somewhat negative effects on your nervous system if you do it too much. I mean, you'd have to do it for like an hour, but still, 1 to 2 minutes is kind of like a good rule of thumb for a maximum. So that might help clear some things up. That helps regulate your prana, or your chi, your ether, your vital forces, your ruach. There are many words for this energy that flows through us, that life force power that we have. And being the sign of Leo, ruled by the sun, that power is particularly important for you. Your solar plexus is a very important chakra with strong Leo and solar associations. And I had this feeling that there was some sort of blockage in your solar plexus chakra. And it was preventing your prana, your chi, your qing from flowing through you properly. But then this blockage, I forgive the graphic, I'll spare you the details, but I regurgitated this blockage, and it looked like a whalebone covered in goo or something. It was hard to see what it was, but it looked kind of like a vertebra of a large mammal, maybe, and covered in like blackish, reddish, dark reddish, just goop. And then I had this sense of relief, and I get the feeling that this was something that had happened in the recent past, that you had just unblocked your solar chakra. And it may have had something to do with your heart center and your throat center, because the act of regurgitating kind of passes through those two centers, and finally coming out the mouth, that might have something that might be symbolic of you were able to feel and process your feelings and then communicate those feelings, which unblocked your solar plexus and allowed your life force energy to begin flowing again. So congratulations on that. And I pulled an I Ching hexagram afterward, and I got hexagram number 35, Jing, which is interesting because that's the word for life force energy. Proceeding forward with a changing line, the third line from the bottom there, to hexagram 52, traveling? 56, traveling. And that kind of verifies that feeling I got, that you already have great strength and you're ready to do something with it, proceeding forward, right? The hexagram has two elements in it, fire above earth. Every 3 lines is symbolized by an element. And so we have fire above earth, which is, the sign of the rising sun. Another very strong Leo symbol. And the sun already has great strength, and it shines on everything and everyone, and brings life to everything and everyone, and proceeds forward and upward gradually and steadily throughout the day. And it's very stable, and it does what it does with all of its power, all of its strength and vibrancy and radiance, and it does it calmly and steadily and stably. And you would have the most success in your venture if you proceed like that. Proceed like the sun, with stability and steadiness. You know, if you're too firm in your life and the way you deal with people, you'll create social problems. But if you're not firm enough in your life and what you do and how you communicate with people, you'll have difficulties dealing with the course of life. So you have to find that good middle ground of firmness. Firm, but not too firm. And make sure you're firm enough and not too loosey-goosey or yielding. So finding that perfect balance of our daily habits, our choices we make, the way we communicate with people, the way we work, our work ethic has to have that perfect balance of firmness, like a perfect mattress. So the most important thing here is to be trustworthy and cultivate trust with other people, the people that are around you, to prove that you're trustworthy. Not necessarily like, oh, you have to prove it, but to cultivate trustworthiness and trust within those people. Also, now would be a good time to speak out about something if you needed to. With this great strength and this well-regulated life force energy that you have within you, if there's something that's been bothering you or a problem that needs to be addressed or anything like that, now is the time to talk about it, to get it out in the open, to discuss it, to solve it, to, bring the problem to a close through good communication. But in general, this is a very auspicious time to make progress with your ventures, and you'll have both internal and external progress. So now is a time to just boldly step forward with your plans and your goals. Even if they seem somewhat unrealistic, you'll probably be surprised at how easily they start to come together at this time. So it might be a good time to just start making steps, move forward, gradually and stably. It's not a time for rash action, but if you proceed forward with stability and with trustworthiness, you'll have a great deal of success. It will just sort of naturally unfold. And to just drive the point home or clarify one last thing, that third line is changing. So that's the top line of the bottom trigram, right? That bottom one is Earth, and the changing line is at top of the Earth. Now, Earth also symbolizes like a multitude, a group of people. The earthly realm, the people. And you're there at the top of this multitude. And so going it alone at this time is not favorable. It's probably not a good idea to proceed by yourself. So in cultivating trust with others, these people will probably want to work with you and help you, and you should obtain their help and work with them. And you'll have a great deal of success if you move forward with like-minded individuals. So if I have a sense that you've found like-minded individuals, and you just need to focus on making that group coherent. And through gentleness, the gentle arise, like the sun sheds its light and then plants begin to grow. So like the gentle things arise and blossom and bloom with the radiance of the sun. The plants trust the sun, basically, and everything comes forth naturally and blossoms naturally with the radiant energy of the sun. So there is definitely a need for a healthy group to work with you, with a good dynamic. And one thing about this changing line, this third line, is that it's a yin line at a yang place. So you might be dealing with some maybe anxiety or some regrets, or maybe some minor setbacks or mishaps, and maybe some doubts, self-doubts or doubts about the situation, things like that. But that regret is ultimately unimportant and will vanish because the people around you trust you. You've cultivated and earned their trust truly through nobleness and your good characteristics, and they intend to move forward with you. And when you notice that they truly do intend to move forward with you, all that regret vanishes immediately. So I think that's the challenge that you just have to focus on at this time, is Don't beat yourself up too much or don't regret too much things that have happened in the recent past. Maybe the things that are sort of bringing you down aren't actually that important once you realize that all these people got your back because they know you have their back. And so there's this mutual support between you and the group. And proceeding forward with them brings success. So I'm going to now pull some cards for you and develop this further. We'll see how this goes. I have here my own divination system that I've developed over the years. 24 symbols on this board of wood here. 24 aspects of reality. 24 aspects of life. I'm going to spin a coin and it'll point at one of these, and that's what the Oracle wants us to focus on. Today it'll be that part of your life, or part of reality, that requires your attention right now. So, what does Leo need to know? Right at it. The concubine. Now I use the word concubine in the traditional sense, which means someone who truly loves you. Not like in the modern sense that means just like a side chick or a prostitute. No, I mean in the traditional sense of like because in the ancient world, marriages were largely political. You didn't really marry for love. You married for wealth and land grabs and political alliances and things like that. And then you would have a concubine that was your actual lover, the person who actually cared for you. So that's what we're going to focus on, is just this idea of real unconditional love. That's whether this could be with another person, it could even be with a group of people, or it could be for yourself, because we all need to have an unconditional love for ourselves, because if we don't have it for ourselves, no one else is going to have it for us. So this could, I'm not sure what it means to you, but it could be on many layers of life. It's sort of like the lens for Venusian energy. If you know about the symbolism of the planet Venus, imagine putting that energy through like a magnifying glass lens that channels it down to a specific thing, a very important thing that highlights, it basically highlights our adventure through life, that desire to move forward with something is usually symbolized by this burning love for something, for yourself, for another, for an activity that you do, a hobby, a goal. There's a burning question of love here, of passion. So what does Leo need to know about the concubine? The Emperor. Ooh, ooh. Interesting. So here we have a very feminine symbol with a very masculine symbol. The concubine and the Emperor. Now, an emperor would certainly have a concubine. Someone who truly cared for him, someone who understood him, who understands him, because most people will see what the emperor wants them to see, or what political theorists want them to see, what propagandists want them to see, what liars want them to see, what supporters want them to see, what the military wants them to see, what the court politicians want them to see. There's many, many ways to view an emperor, and the only one that knows the true self of the emperor would be his concubine. So there might be a particular person who knows you very, very well, while others see you in different ways. They see you as a very powerful person, they see you as a leader, they see you as very strong, they see you as stoic, someone who gets the job done, someone who has people's respect. But I think there's one person who sees past all that facade. Not that all those aspects are untrue, but there are other parts of ourselves. There are times when we just need to soften up and relax and be ourselves. And there's probably a particular person who allows you to do that and loves you for it. Maybe it's a part of yourself where you allow yourself free time and private time where you can just be yourself, you know, dance naked in your living room, whatever it is, where you can take the masks off, or not that you're wearing masks, but other people might put masks on you, if you know what I mean. They might see you in a way, and you need a space and time for yourself where there are no expectations put on you, where you can just relax. So maybe you have a trusted friend with whom you should just hang out with, like next Friday night or something like that. I don't know, something, or if there's no one like that, then just, you know, bake yourself something nice and just enjoy like some alone time, you know, just indulge in some nice little comforts or whatever hobbies that are your hobbies, your private hobbies that you enjoy to do. Just chill time where you can let go of everything, I think is very important. Just relaxation time for you. Just, you need probably some really, really chill time. Let's pull another card and clarify what's going on here. So what does Leo need to know about this Emperor and the concubine? That's also like the divine masculine and the divine feminine, right? Just union. You might, maybe in your private life, you study or practice alchemy, like philosophic alchemy, spiritual alchemy, and you might be at the marriage phase, which is a very high stage of alchemy. And that wouldn't surprise me given the rest of the reading, that you already have great strength, you've already unblocked your solar plexus, you're ready to move forward. You'll have inner and external progress, so that has a lot to do with the alchemical marriage of where your divine feminine and masculine unite together and you become a very powerful being, like an emperor. So what does Leo need to know about the Emperor and the concubine? Abandonment, deditio. Interesting. So this abandonment, this here we have like a ruined tower. Oh wow, is there a face in that shadow, or am I hallucinating? Does that look like there's a big old face, like two eyes in that shadow? I don't know. It's weird. Abandonment. You might be afraid, that might be part of the changing line that we were talking about, that sense of regret or guilt that you might have. It's like a minor thing. You might be worried that these people around you are not interested in what you're doing or what your goals are, and that they're just going to abandon you or abandon ship and leave you hanging. This is something that an emperor is afraid of. This is one of the fears of an emperor, is losing support and not knowing why the support would be lost. Like sort of like an irrational fear of just like imagining, what if, you know, what if I lose all this support? Well, like, why would you? Is there a real reason? Or is the reason very minor? Like, put yourself in the other people's shoes and try objectively as possible to see yourself the way they see you. And like, are your fears of abandonment really founded? Well-founded? I suspect not, considering the rest of the reading here. I think you probably just have like a minor abandonment issue or a minor fear that will be easy to overcome, because you will realize that these people do trust you and intend to move forward with you. And especially this abandonment coming in with the concubine here. Maybe you've been abandoned in the past when someone got very close to you. You became very close to them. You might have had a very deep relationship, and either you or they abandoned the other. And now there's that fear coming from this past experience, and you just might think it's going to happen again. But I don't think it will. It doesn't seem like it, based on this reading. It seems like the group dynamic is really good. I don't see any indication. So like, I'm thinking that this is just a fear. So, and like not a very reasonable one. Don't worry, we all have unreasonable fears. It's a good thing. It means you can get over it real quick. It's not real. All right, I'm gonna pull a token for you from my divination system. Got 64 symbols, I'll get one for you. What does Leo need to know? Let's clarify this abandonment, the Emperor, and the concubine. Last thing for Leo. What does Leo need to know right now, Oracle? These two are kind of stuck together. Okay, we have... Interesting. Neptune and water, the alchemical symbol for water. Now, obviously Neptune is deeply associated with water. So that seems appropriate. And we've got the number 11 here. We've got another itching trigram, the symbol for water. And the Sanskrit letter for na. That syllable is na. So here, yeah, we have something going on in your emotional space. Yeah, this is a delusion. This abandonment fear coming out with Neptune. This is something that is not real. It's imaginary. It's just an unfounded, unreal fear that you can easily get over. And it's in your emotional center. I think that past relationship thing, or something like that, something that happened in your past, really just stuck in your heart center. And I think that was probably the blockage that you got rid of, or a large part of it, because, you know, just above the solar plexus is the heart, the emotional center. And like that can have a real direct effect on blocking your solar plexus, is the heart chakra. That is usually the cause of a solar plexus blockage. The heart chakra that is jammed up with a trauma or a bad memory. And the good thing about these watery symbols coming through is like a cleansing, flushing out of all of that. Oh, and the whalebone that I saw, that's a very watery symbol as well. Yeah, it was a big hurt. It was a big issue. That was probably with you for a very long time. This pain. And you finally have gotten rid of it. And you know, when we finally get rid of a pain like that, reverberations of it stick around, sometimes for a few days to a few weeks, sometimes just a few minutes. But there's always a reverberation of like remembering the pain and what it was like. Even though the blockage is gone, there's like the traces of it left that come up to our conscious experience, and we sort of relive it. And it can be very difficult, but it's also very cathartic and very cleansing, because it's coming out of us. It's no longer staying in. So we experience it because it's coming out of us, and you just kind of got to let it happen and not worry, even though you're probably feeling it a bit and you're worried. But it's the cleansing kind of cathartic release of this past hurt. And water, the element of water, the emotional center, does soften the firm emperor. If we were talking before about finding that balance of firmness, an extremely firm emperor can be softened through the emotional center and through the imagination. Neptune also has to do with imagination a bit, and is regulated by the lunar sphere, the tides, of course, and the waves push and pull the ocean. And the lunar sphere also regulates the heart center. So there could be a lot to do with the lunar phases that you should pay attention to, and how the moon affects your emotions. And to get on top of that, don't let the moon affect you too much. Learn how to ride those waves instead of being tossed around by them. So pay attention to maybe lunar symbolism, or just the phases of the moon and how they might affect your psyche and your soul. But I get the sense that you're cleansing out a past wound, unblocking your flow of energy, and you have trustworthy people around you willing to move forward with you, because you yourself are trustworthy and you have cultivated that trust, and I have faith that you'll continue to cultivate it. And you'll have success in your ventures. Nothing too terrible here today. That's great. All right, I think that's all the Oracle and I have for you today, Leo. It was great seeing you. I really appreciate you stopping by and hanging out with me. I wish you all the best, and I'll see you next time.